My name is Vanessa, and at 34, I thought I'd finally found my place in the world. 7 years into my marriage with Gregory, I was still trying to fit into his affluent, tight-knit family, hoping each gathering would be the one where I'd feel like I belonged. But at last, summer's Caldwell family BBQ, my sister-in-law Amanda shattered that hope with a single, cruel joke. As we sat around the picnic table, I tried to share a small victory about my graphic design work. Amanda cut me off with a smirk. If you disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice. The table erupted in laughter, Gregory included. The sting was unbearable, but I didn't cry or storm off. Instead, I raised my hot dog, locked eyes with her, and said, "Challenge accepted." That night, I packed my bags and left. If you're already hooked, drop a comment with where you're watching from, hit like, and subscribe to hear how I turned Amanda's words into the spark that rebuilt my life and how I reappeared a year later to show them all who I really am. I met Gregory during our final year at university, a time when life felt full of possibility. I was a graphic design major, juggling classes and a part-time job at a campus coffee shop to cover tuition. My days were a blur of sketching, coding layouts, and steaming lattes. My nights spent poring over design theory in a cramped dorm room. Gregory, a business major, came from a different world, his tuition fully funded by his parents, his future paved with connections I could only dream of. One late night, he walked into the coffee shop, his arms full of textbooks, and struck up a conversation about the novel I was reading behind the counter. It was The Alchemist, and he'd read it too. We talked for hours, the shop emptying around us, about dreams, fate, and the courage to chase what matters. He was charming, thoughtful, with a quick wit that made me laugh in a way I hadn't in years. Our romance moved fast within 3 months. We were inseparable, spending weekends exploring the city, sharing dreams over cheap pizza, and planning a future that felt limitless. By graduation, he proposed with a ring that cost more than my student debt, a glittering diamond that seemed to promise everything. I said yes, swept away by his love, his confidence, and the vision of a life I'd never dared imagine. When we married a year later, I wasn't just joining Gregory, I was stepping into the Caldwell family, a world as foreign to me as a distant planet. The Caldwells were everything my family wasn't: wealthy, connected, and fiercely insular. Richard, Gregory's father, had built a marketing empire from nothing, a self-made man whose handshake could open doors across the state. Patricia, his mother, was a force of nature, managing their social calendar with the precision of a general while serving on multiple charity boards. Amanda, their eldest daughter, was a junior executive at Richard's firm, by 27 sharp and ambitious. With a smile that could cut glass, Michael, the youngest, was the family's so-called rebel. Yet he'd still landed a plush job at his uncle's investment firm. My own upbringing was a stark contrast, raised by a single mother who worked 2 jobs waitressing by day. Cleaning offices by night, I grew up knowing the weight of every dollar. My sister Olivia and I shared a bedroom in our tiny apartment, our Christmases filled with homemade gifts and potluck dinners with neighbors. We didn't have much, but we had love, laughter, and a stubborn belief that hard work could carve a path forward. When I first visited the Caldwell's sprawling colonial home, with its manicured lawns and chandeliers, I felt like I'd wandered into a movie set. Everything gleamed, from the crystal glassware to the family's polished manners, and I couldn't shake the sense that I was an extra who didn't quite belong. The differences between our worlds were subtle but relentless. Patricia would praise my crafty design work, her tone implying it was a quaint hobby rather than a career I'd built from scratch. At family dinners, Richard would explain basic marketing concepts to me, as if my years running a freelance business didn't count. Amanda's corrections were sharper. She'd helpfully fix my pronunciation of Sauvignon Blanc or point out that my dress wasn't quite the right brand for the occasion. Always with a saccharine smile. "They mean well," Gregory would say when I mentioned these slights, his hand squeezing mine. "Amanda's just trying to help you fit in. That's how she shows love." But Amanda's love felt like a slow drip of poison, eroding my confidence drop by drop. At our wedding, her maid of honor speech lingered on Gregory's ex-girlfriends, each anecdote a reminder of my place in their hierarchy. When we bought our first home, she questioned if the neighborhood was suitable for a Caldwell. When I landed a major client, she mused aloud if they'd hired me because of Gregory's connections. I tried to win them over. I volunteered at Patricia's charity events, pouring hours into decorating venues and designing flyers. I referred clients to Richard's firm, hoping to prove my value. I memorized their birthdays, chose thoughtful gifts, and laughed at their inside jokes. Even when they stung, I changed how I dressed, softened my working-class accent, and swallowed my pride when talk turned to yacht clubs and private schools. For the first few years, I kept my freelance design business alive, building a modest but loyal client list. My work was gaining traction. Local galleries featured my posters, and a regional magazine praised my branding for a small bakery. But when Gregory got a promotion that required extensive travel, it was assumed I'd scale back. "It's just temporary," he said, his eyes already on the next deal. "You can pick up your projects later." So I did, letting my business shrink to a handful of clients while I managed our home, planned dinners, and kept our life running smoothly. My world narrowed. Fewer friends, fewer projects, just Gregory's intermittent presence and the Caldwell's judgmental orbit. Then came the miscarriage. 11 weeks into a pregnancy I hadn't even shared with the family. The physical pain was searing, but the emotional toll was worse. Gregory was in Chicago, offering to return but sounding relieved when I said I'd manage. Patricia sent flowers with a note. "Perhaps it's for the best until you're more settled." Amanda suggested my little business might have caused too much stress. Only Olivia, my sister, showed up, staying a week, bringing soup, holding me through nights of tears. The contrast between her warmth and the Caldwell's detachment cracked something deep inside me, but I buried it, still chasing their approval, still believing I could belong. By the time the annual Caldwell BBQ arrived, I was a shadow of myself. My design work felt mechanical, my friendships had faded, and my marriage was a performance I no longer believed in. Still, I clung to hope that this year's gathering would be different, that I'd finally earn my place. The BBQ was a neighborhood legend, a showcase of Caldwell status. Patricia planned it like a military campaign, curated menus, imported linens, a guest list of business associates and socialites. Richard debuted his latest grilling gadgets. This year, a $5,000 imported smoker. Dozens of guests milled across their pristine lawn, sipping artisanal cocktails. I spent 3 hours that morning baking my grandmother's strawberry shortcake, a recipe that had won rare praise from the family before. Gregory was distracted, fielding calls about his upcoming Tokyo trip. "Try to act impressed by Dad's smoker," he said as we drove. "Even if you don't get why it's a big deal." I nodded, clutching my dessert, my sundress chosen to match Patricia's casual elegance dress code, already feeling too tight. The Caldwell home buzzed when we arrived. Caterers wove through the crowd with trays of appetizers. Richard held court on the patio, showing off his smoker. Patricia glided between guests, her laugh like crystal. Amanda spotted us at the gate, air-kissing Gregory and giving my dress a quick once-over. "Vanessa, that dress is so cheerful," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "The kitchen's crowded, but I'm sure you'll find somewhere for your contribution." She whisked Gregory away, leaving me alone with my shortcake. In the kitchen, Patricia barely glanced at me. "You didn't need to bring anything, dear," she said, directing caterers, the patisseries handling desserts. She waved toward the pantry. "Put it there for now." My shortcake joined a shelf of lesser offerings, while Amanda's authentic tiramisu was given pride of place. The next hours were a blur of exclusion. I'd start a conversation, only to be pulled away by Patricia to meet someone important. I offered to help with the buffet, but the caterers had a system. I tried joining a chat about movies, but my words were drowned out. Charlotte, Michael's wife, was treated differently. Patricia introduced her as our Charlotte, the pediatric surgeon, while Amanda included her in family stories. I was the outsider, always. At lunch, I sat between Gregory's deaf Uncle Frank and an empty chair for Amanda. Gregory, across from me, was deep in talk with Richard about Tokyo. Amanda arrived, her plate a work of art, and launched into a story about a celebrity at her gym. Everyone leaned in, even Frank. I saw a chance to share. I'd just finished a branding project for a new bakery downtown. I said, "Their grand opening's next weekend." Amanda's eyes narrowed. "Is that the place with the tacky neon sign?" she asked. "The signage is vintage-inspired." I started to explain, but she cut me off with a sigh. "If you disappeared tomorrow, no one would even notice. That's how boring this conversation is." Laughter exploded Patricia's titter, Richard's guffaw, Gregory's chuckle. Even Frank laughed, caught in the moment. The sound hit like ice water, making me hyper-visible yet invisible. My face burned, my hands froze. 7 years of slights crystallized into clarity. I didn't cry or flee. I raised my hot dog, met Amanda's gaze, and said, "Challenge accepted." The table stilled, Amanda's smile faltering, Gregory glancing between us. Patricia chirped, "Who's ready for brisket?" and the moment passed. I spent the afternoon observing, not participating. I saw the Caldwells ease in their world of privilege, Gregory blending seamlessly, offering me absent smiles. Every slight, every dismissal, was catalogued. A voice inside me, long silenced, roared, "You deserve better." By the time we left, my decision was made. In the silent drive home, Gregory scrolled emails, oblivious. "Everything okay?" he asked, noticing my quiet. "Did you think Amanda's joke was funny?" I asked. He sighed. "Don't start. She was just being Amanda." "You laughed." "It was a joke," he said, exiting the car, ending the talk. That night, as he slept, I lay awake, tracing our marriage's arc. I'd been a vibrant designer when we met, full of passion. Somewhere, I'd bought the Caldwell's message I was lucky to be among them, my worth tied to their approval. At 2 a.m., I slipped to my office, researching bank accounts, Seattle apartments near Olivia, and moving logistics. By dawn, I had a plan. When Gregory left for golf with Richard, I called Jessica, my college roommate. "I'm leaving Gregory today. Can you help me pack?" She arrived in 2 hours with coffee and boxes. We packed essentials clothes, documents, my design gear, mementos. "I'll store what doesn't fit," she said, wrapping a photo of Mom and me. I transferred half our joint savings, paid my share of bills, and canceled subscriptions. By afternoon, my car held my life's essence. Jessica hugged me. "I'm proud of you." Alone, I wrote Gregory a letter, simple and clear. I needed space to reevaluate our marriage, took only what was mine, and asked for no contact. I left a note quoting Amanda's joke, my wedding ring beside it. I picked up our wedding photo, our smiles so hopeful, and whispered, "Goodbye," driving away. Each mile loosened the tightness in my chest. At a modest hotel, I checked in with my separate credit card, confirmed my safety to Jessica and Olivia, and slept deeply. Free. Seattle greeted me with rain, a cleansing baptism. Olivia found me a studio apartment in her neighborhood, small but cozy, its bay windows framing the city. "It's not fancy," she said, helping me unpack. "It's mine," I replied. That week, I opened a new bank account, set up mail forwarding through Jessica, got a Seattle phone number, and updated my freelance profiles, removing Caldwell-linked work. Gregory's messages cycled from confusion to anger to bargaining. "Where are you? This is ridiculous. Come home." I stayed silent, not out of cruelty, but survival. Amanda posted a cryptic Instagram story. "Family is everything. You can't choose who stays." Patricia called Mom, fishing for info. Charlotte texted, offering to talk. I ignored them, focusing on rebuilding. Jessica shipped my remaining belongings, I found a therapist, Dr. Lewis, who helped unpack the trauma. Amanda's joke wasn't the cause. She said it was the catalyst. We traced the first slights, Patricia's cute hobby comments, Amanda's corrections, Gregory's silence. By month 2, I had 3 clients, small jobs that rebuilt my confidence. One rainy day, I admired a mural in a coffee shop. The barista mentioned the owner. Eleanor needed a designer. I met Eleanor, 50, silver-haired, direct. "Show me your personal work," she said. I shared old, experimental designs. "You've been hiding," she said. "These are good. Why'd you stop?" I told her about losing my voice to the Caldwells. She hired me for the shop's menus. On one condition, create 1 personal piece weekly. Eleanor became my mentor, pushing me to reclaim my creativity. My calendar filled with meaningful projects. Gregory's messages faded, divorce papers were filed, met with his initial resistance, then resignation. 6 months in, I checked social media. Gregory was with a new woman. Amanda posted about family dinners. Missing no one. The sting was faint, freeing. My divorce finalized clean. No alimony. My grandmother's ring mine. I cut my hair into a bob, seeing a stronger Vanessa in the mirror. By month 8, my business needed a studio. I rented a desk in a creative co-op, surrounded by artists who valued me. At the 1-year mark, my life was unrecognizable, vibrant, valued. Then came Westwood Creative's email, seeking a designer for Sheffield Consumer Brands, a Caldwell subsidiary. Suspicious. I consulted Eleanor. "Take it if it's worth it," she said. I met Thomas, the director, who knew nothing of my past. The project was big, rebranding Sheffield's organic line, with a hefty budget. I accepted, setting clear boundaries. For 3 weeks, it was smooth, positive feedback. No Caldwells. Then, Sheffield's rebrand was set for a marketing gala. A Caldwell stronghold. Dr. Lewis outlined my options: skip it, avoid them, or face them on my terms. "What would today's Vanessa do?" she asked. I chose to go, hiring a stylist for a bold emerald jumpsuit. My bob highlighted. Designer shoes my armor. At the gala, I networked with ease, my confidence drawing nods, not dismissal. Richard spotted me, surprised but civil. "Your work's evolved," he said, "returned to its roots." I corrected. Amanda confronted me, hinting at manipulation. "I'm here because I'm good," I said. My presentation wowed, earning applause. Gregory approached post-talk, admitting therapy and his failures. "I miss you," he said. "I like who I'm becoming," I replied, offering coffee out of courtesy. Patricia tried a hollow olive branch. I called out her pantry slight, polite but firm. The next day's workshop brought more. Amanda acknowledged my work, hinting at Richard pulling Sheffield in-house. I noted my contract's protections. Patricia cornered me, admitting they weren't welcoming. I left for my well-being. I said, "Gregory," over coffee, owned his complicity. I laughed. He said, "I didn't see you." I wished him well. Our hug a gentle goodbye. Alone with Amanda later, she asked if I'd targeted their project. "No," I said. "I'm too busy living." She admitted her joke's impact, revealing her own growth as a mother-to-be. "I don't want my child to feel invisible," she said. "That's a good start," I replied. The gala dinner was calm. Richard praised my work. Patricia complimented my dress. Amanda credited my design. I left, not triumphant but whole, months later. At Eleanor's coffee shop, I reflected. Sheffield's campaign soared. My career blossomed. I bought a small house by the water, my own. Charlotte became a friend, revealing Amanda's changes. At a farmer's market, I ran into Amanda, pregnant, softer. She spoke of breaking family patterns. "Self-awareness is powerful," I said. Amanda's joke had sparked my reinvention. I'd disappeared from their world, reappearing in mine, seen, valued, free. If someone's words ever pushed you to change, share below. Like, subscribe, share this story. Your worth isn't defined by those who can't see it. Thanks for joining me.